Okay, so after the court date, I lost track of what I was saying. After the court, I got charged technically with harassment. I had to find a lawyer. I I went homeless. I forgot to mention that. There's a lot of stuff that happened. So if I add more context, you're gonna be like, this story doesn't really make sense, but it does. Listen, after I got into a relationship, then I lost my job, then I went crazy, I broke up with him, then I went back home to my mom, then I went crazy by myself, then I got kicked out of my mom's place. There we go. I got kicked out of my mom's place. After I got kicked out, I mean, I was still doing the court thing. The court thing was still active. As I was homeless, it was still active. I was, that, whoa. Yeah, when I was homeless, the court case was still active. Like no matter what, I had harassment charges on me, but I was homeless. So, yeah. They put me in like not housing, like shelters. I was very lucky and grateful. But obviously I was gonna complain a little bit. But I was still grateful. They just moved me into a hotel shelter. I didn't like the hotel shelters, and I'll tell you exactly why. As much as I would love to advocate for those hotel shelters, they're not the best because just the drug use, that's all. The illicit substance use. I remember that if I want to post this, I go into many certain details, but they're Toronto, Ontario, you substance use is a thing. It's a thing. A little bit, just a little. We won't emphasize, but it's there. For the people that they put in hotel shelters, they don't want them sharing needles. They don't want people. I mean, once you get your own hotel room in this shelter, they kind of just want you to like relax, like especially for the people who are really under the influence, like high on substances, or just like they were on the streets for a long time. Like the minute you get into a hotel shelter, that's like considered a blessing and like your time to chill. During COVID, it was a time for them to get high and just chill up in your hotel rooms and just chill out, like, because I mean there's nothing else to do. So when it comes to the substance use, that's the big thing that I didn't like. And that's what made me go crazy and made me get kicked out from one hotel shelter, to the next one, which was technically my last hotel shelter. Because after I went to the second one, that one was low-key a bit crazier because it had more people that were straight off from the streets, like straight from the streets, like straight there, or like people who are just just you just know, like no, like even when I went to the second and last hotel shelter, they knew I didn't fit in. They knew I didn't fit the mold of like, okay, why are you here? Like, no, but honestly, like, why was I there? And the only thing I can say is because I disrespected my mom, because I didn't, bitch, I went crazy. Like, I don't really know. I just know I was going off. I know I was screaming. I know I was yelling. I know I was pissed off. I don't know exactly. I just know I was freaking mad. And then I got kicked out on Family Day. I remember that because it was Family Day. Yeah. But anyways, so during the time that I was at the first and second shelter, I was going to the sex club to bring back the Oasis sex club. It was good. Especially because during the time I was homeless and I was using the sex club as not a scapegoat, but as an escape. And I felt safe, and it was safe. And it wasn't too weird. I didn't unfit their mold too much. I was able to find a space where I felt comfortable. And when I was homeless, bitch, that's all I wanted. Bitch, you already know they were going to take advantage once they knew that shit. But I felt comfortable. I felt more than comfortable. And I just kept going. Whenever I wanted to, and whenever I had the money to. You see, this is where it gets messed up, because when I was at the first hotel shelter, I should have known, but I didn't. By the time I got to the second hotel shelter, I went I wanted to say one last final time, but that was the day that I got whatever. So it's like they were speaking to me at the club, but they weren't speaking to me at the club, in the sense of they knew who I was. They knew, okay. But then something happened in the midst. Yaze, and I ended up getting stealth. In the sense of something was done to me that I said no to. Something was done to me without permission. Done. That's basically what it is. That's basically what, yeah. After it was done, I got so mad, and I made, all I heard, well, I looked back, like I reached back with my hand, the same hand that has harm on my arms, which is not a good way to be a target. And I looked back, and the room was empty. And all I heard was in the corner was, I hope she washes off. I was like, what do you mean? In my head, while bent over. I was like, what do you mean? And I got mad, because I'm like, what the fuck do you mean wash off? What the fuck do you have? I didn't wash off, to make a long story short. I continued with my night. You know what exactly happens at those clubs. But within a day or two, the next day I was kicked out of the shelter because I went off. And by the next day, I felt something below, like on my bits, only to find out it was herpes. And as much as I can be scared, I didn't get scared. I didn't get scared. I was, but I wasn't. I was like, why does it hurt? And then I checked. I was like, oh. And since I was homeless, I couldn't move. Like, I couldn't move. I couldn't move. I just had to stay I had to stay dirty. So it prolonged the painful situation for a couple more days than I would have wanted, because if I was still at the hotel shelter, I would have rushed to the doctors, and it would have been like, oh my God, look. But because I had a couple of days, not only being homeless, just being by myself on the streets, literally nothing else to do but to call central intake, and then to just analyze what the frick was on my clitoris. I'm sorry, just so honestly, I was like, okay. By the time I got to the doctors and they had to do their swabs, and then I got the results back, it didn't bring enough surprise as much as I was expecting. I have to be honest, because, and I think it's because of how it happened. Like, if it happened a different way, where I didn't have a feeling or an inkling, or if I just would have been able to rush to the doctors and like be more in panic, then I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm in panic. But I was in panic, but I wasn't in panic, because I had to be like, bro, I'm homeless. Like, okay, you have this on your clit, it hurts, but like, okay, but like, you're homeless. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, bitch, what do you want me to do? I don't know if anybody could ever relate to that, but that's what I relate to. I could have, but of course I wasn't gonna wash off. I ended up finding out recently, and within the couple last years, that it actually was a whole setup that giving me an STI. the same ex that I'm talking about that I had to go, that got me charges, right? He was one of the ones who like infiltrated, like set this up when it comes to giving her STIs so she would wash off and find her way back. I didn't know how deliberate that type of man was, but since he's a man who's in politics, I'm not surprised that he would go out of his way to ruin my life. But yes, he did set himself up, because I mean, I think he's in a relationship now, unless he's not, but he did set me up in the sense of giving me herpes. But I don't know what's happening with his life. That's all I gotta say. I don't know what's happening. I don't even know what's happening to the guy who gave me the herpes. All I know is they all set it up. The ex-boyfriend, the people in the sex club, the people who are around in the sex club, they couldn't do anything but just be like, okay, we'll agree. So it's kind of just like, oh, so I was the only one who didn't understand that was a setup. And no, you don't understand. I'm not going to wash off. And anyways, to progress a bit more, because I ended up setting up the sex club back by not washing off the STI and keeping it and trying to go about my life, it caused a rift in the sense of they wanted to get me. The guy who gave it to me wanted to, any guy who I had intercourse with, who, we won't even talk about what the doctors did. We won't even talk about what the doctors did after I went to the doctors the first time to get swabs. And then when I had to go back, when I was yelling and upset because like I'm getting the wrong diagnosis. I don't know. All I know is I didn't do what they wanted me to do, in the sense of just wash off, because I didn't want to do that. And I was never going to do that. But they didn't believe I was going to do that. They believed I was going to, but I wasn't going to do that. So, now it's kind of, I'm in the rift now where I do have herpes. I do have herpes. I do not have oral herpes. I have vaginal herpes. Does it hurt? Yes. Does it sting? Yes. Does it burn? Does it feel like razors? Yes. But that's also because I have vaginal lips that, you know. Is there any open, like, big sores, like those photos and those videos and like those? No, but especially the photos that you see on Google where like really like infected sores. Like, okay, no. When you take some medication, we already know who it is. When you take some medication, you let the sores calm down a bit and just lay dormant, it's fine. But if those sores are ablazing, like open, it hurts like freaking, ooh, it hurts like a motherfucker. Now, the reason why I get this STI, because why the hell would I get set up with an STI? Probably because during my manicness, during my craziness, I wasn't making much sense. The best thing they could have done at the time was to set me up to get me back in line. And because I didn't wash off and put myself back in line, it kind of just caused, again, another big riff of, why didn't you just do what we asked? And I'm like, because you set me up. Why would I trust you after you set me up and hurt me? I get confused. As much as they get confused to beat me up, I get confused of, okay, but it's still not my fault. But yeah, the point is, I'm going to post this. I don't know what in hopes for, but in the sense of just, y'all know, the girl has an STI. I went through a bunch of crap when it comes to how they lied about it, how they twisted up the story, and now I'm just a dirty STI who low-key just wants to be left alone and hopefully just get my benefits approved, because the mental health is getting worse. The mental health is getting worse. I don't think I'm mentally stable enough to be working, much less with the fucking herpes STI, because it's getting a bit too hard out here where I'm like, no, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sick. You see how dehydrated and dry I look? Like I'm sick. Yeah. For the most part, do they want me to go back to that club? Listen, the only reason why they look so different. The only reason why they want me to go back to that club is to get more STIs. So if you ever see me there, I don't really know what I'm doing there. I don't think I'm there to have sex, that's for sure. I don't think so. But if I were to have sex, you already know they're going to set me up with getting another STI, because, oh, you want to talk negatively about this club? That's why I got to post this online, because it's going to get too serious. And I don't get no messages, nothing from that freaking place no more. The only thing I get is torment from certain individuals who set this up to be like, we'll just go back and just fuck yourself over. I'm like, well, I wasn't the person who fucked myself over. If you actually look into the details, talking about soap bars and wash your whole vagina out with soap. I don't want a UTI. I don't want my vagina to sting like that. I'd rather just keep the herpes forever, because just stop fucking touching me. I don't know. Anyways, if there's anything else I need to add, I will add it later, but you get the point. That's it. That's the end of the video. Say goodbye to the YouTube. No, I don't want to say goodbye. I want to say hello. But if this is goodbye, we'll say peace.